Hello, I'm Laura. It's August 8th, 2026, and these are the Saturday Heartlines. The Saturday Heartlines are a time of looking at the theme and topics of the past week to see what message arises for us today. And the theme of this past week has been, and still is, the light of truth. And the message that comes up for us is the importance of aligning with truth. Now, in the spirit of that theme, I need to share that earlier this week I promised that the Heartlines would be 5 minutes or less. And because of information and stories shared, they have gone a little longer at times. So I'm revising that promise to a range between 4 and 7 minutes, with the exception of Saturdays that may stay to 7 minutes or less and may go a little over because they are a review of the whole week. So let's begin that review right now. On Sunday, we looked at the light of truth and the vote, VOTE, or the voice of truth, voice of truth expressed. Get that right now, the voice of truth expressed. And we looked at how important it is to vote our values based on acknowledging the facts and holding the vision of what is possible. On Monday, we looked at the wildfires or hotspots here in the United States and around the world. And we held in our hearts and prayers those who are affected by wildfires. And we were inspired by their human spirit of coming together with courage and community. On Tuesday, it was primary election day in many states here in the United States, so we looked at both elections and the life choices that we make and how to let wisdom lead the way. Wisdom is when the mind and the heart work together to motivate actions and produce results. Wednesday was our heart warmer, and we looked at the shining truth of the good neighbor by revisiting the topic of wildfires, this time from a year and a half ago in California. On the long road back to rebuilding and recovery in the communities of California, neighbors have stepped up to support and help each other, to join together in specific organizations, and to move through the intense and difficult times together. And we ourselves, when we face difficult times, can reach out to our neighbors. On Thursday, we went to another heartwarming episode with women's baseball and the truth about the human potential. We looked at the fact that it had been 72 years since the last professional women's league of baseball had come to a close. And that first league started in World War II when the men were fighting overseas in the war. And the women came together and played ball so that we could all, or so that people could enjoy. I wasn't around at the time, but so that people could enjoy a good game. And today we see that spirit happening again. On August 1st, the new Women's Baseball League opened up, and it inspires us with the potential of doing what is ours to do and of enjoying things together. And the 72-year gap shows how that human potential never dies. On Friday, we looked at the truth of well-being and how staying healthy is a matter of what we hold in our minds as well as what we feed our bodies. And also, we held in our hearts and prayers those who have been affected by the recent intestinal viruses that have been spreading through the U.S. and other countries a little bit. So when we come together and we acknowledge the truth, and we hold it in our hearts, and we hold each other in our good thoughts and prayers, we can make a difference. So let's begin this process right now in a time of quiet contemplation by taking a deep breath and closing our eyes and holding to this thought. Through acknowledging the facts and acting on the values of equality and respect for all, I align myself with the spirit of truth and seek to give it authentic expression in my world. I'll say that again. Through acknowledging the facts and acting on the values of equality and respect for all, I align myself with the spirit of truth and seek to give it authentic expression in my world. And so it is. Now, I deeply value equality and respect for all. You may value other things and hold those in your heart. My values are based both on principles put forth by the U.S. Declaration of Independence and by the great commandments taught by Jesus, that all men, and today we would include women, are created equal, and that it is important to both love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. So whatever you call the divine or the spirit of truth, or whatever comes alive in you, just remember to love your neighbor as yourself and to see people with respect and equality. And holding those values in your heart will give expression to the truth. Thank you for joining me in Truth Today, and have a wonderful day.